Today we have a question in on the show. It comes from Augustus Oku on Instagram. And he asked, with the Ballon d'Or being an attacker-favored award, will Kevin De Bruyne win a Ballon d'Or at some point in his career? Interesting question. Certainly for me, Kevin De Bruyne is the best midfielder in the world. If I had to completely subsidize all of my bias towards, favorite teams and everything, Kevin De Bruyne is probably my favorite player in the world. Just the way he plays, he's the epitome of what you want in a not only a 10 but as an 8 as well. What do you think, Roman, of Kevin De Bruyne?
I think it's definitely a possibility, as we're seeing Ronaldo and Messi, even though they're still at greatness, they're slowly declining on the way out. I don't even know if Messi's even in decline yet, but we've seen a little decline in Ronaldo's game. What I think helps De Bruyne's chances a lot would be how well Modric played and how he was up for it. That's what I think really helps. We're kind of seeing midfielders are slowly getting more recognition than they did before. I have center backs. When's the last center back to win it? Cannavaro?
Cannavaro. I think he's the only one.
They just don't get the recognition they need. It is attacker heavy, but if I were to answer that question, I think he's up for it when Ronaldo and Messi were to retire.
I think De Bruyne's 28, so right now he's in his prime, you could say. Messi is 32. Ronaldo's 34. I don't think Ronaldo has... Well, Ronaldo has started off the year on fire. I don't know if he is
continuing it,
still at the level, like if he'll still be at the absolute dominant level like he has been, because he wasn't last season. And in the next 2 years, I see him moving on from Juve and taking another step down in his career.
Where do you think he goes? Is the MLS a route for him?
Something like, probably. I can see something like that, and if maybe back to Portugal.
Ooh,
but
Sporting.
But I'm thinking he goes somewhere in the next few years that hinders his Ballon d'Or opportunities if they're not already hindered. Messi, injuries are starting to affect him, but I can see him getting another one this year. But in 2 years, I think we can maybe be looking at. I make the case that De Bruyne is the third best player in the world, to be honest.
I'm just thinking of other bodies right now. You can make that argument. I'm gonna throw Mbappe in there right now too.
I don't put Mbappe yet on the level. I think
he's
Mbappe,
close.
But Mbappe's getting a Ballon d'Or at some point.
Oh yes, that's not a doubt.
He's going to be the best player in the world at some point. Other names like Neymar's not going to win one until he leaves PSG.
Which who knows when the hell that's going to happen.
Because PSG are not you got to go deep in the Champions League at minimum to get an opportunity.
And he's also in a lesser league.
Yeah, that's what I mean. PSG don't thrive in Champions League. I think
they choke it.
Mbappe will move on at some point and get himself like Real Madrid, and then at that point he can start going after Ballon d'Ors.
Anyone else? I really can't.
With De Bruyne, Man City certainly have the ability to go deep in the Champions League every year, especially when they still have Pep Guardiola, as long as they have him for a while. And Belgium in the Euros, there's potential that they could progress.
Their players are getting a lot older.
This and maybe the next World Cup.
I give them this.
That is the end of the golden generation, most likely.
We don't
unless they find like a new resurgence of young players. This is the end of the
that's
golden
the whole
generation.
problem. They just have not brought in the youth that they were before. We haven't seen that many players come in.
Not as much. There are
Hazard.
There are
Den Docker maybe. I don't
No.
Oh, but what else you can think of youth wise?
I guess you're right.
Luca Bio, is he even Belgian? I think he is.
No. Okay, so this might be it, but I think it'd be very tough for De Bruyne because he's in his prime and he still has to deal with Ronaldo and Messi, and then after Ronaldo and Messi, all of a sudden Mbappe is coming through, and who knows what some of these other guys are going to be producing, like not Luke De Jong, Frankie De Jong. Those kind of guys are going to be at the world-class, high-tier level. So, look, I think it's possible for De Bruyne to win an award as prestigious as that because, I love this guy. Like, the way he plays in either the 8 or the 10 role, he does anything he wants with either feet. He's basically ambidextrous. His ability to pick out a pass is
superb.
Is only few can parallel what he does passing wise. Like Lionel Messi can do it. There's Maybe when it comes to long passing, you talk about
Pirlo back in the
Frankie
day.
de Jong. Yeah, there's not many guys who have the passing ability and the vision that Kevin De Bruyne possesses. And that, along with his ability to play in midfield, he can kind of track back as well. He's not like an out and out 10. His scoring touch, he's got an absolute lethal shot with either foot. When he was on Wolfsburg, probably the player I wanted Man United to sign the most, and it was very upset when City eventually got him. And well, he's just proven how
worked out well for them.
he's proven how tremendous of a player he is. Chelsea really screwed that one up.
They like screwing the pooch.
They fucked that one for sure.
No, my
So yeah,
we're gonna go with De Bruyne. The only way I can actually see him getting up to the standards of a Ballon d'Or is Belgium needs to go far in a tournament.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be something like Luka. We're gonna have to see something like Modric, how he was the backbone of Croatia when they made that huge push to the World Cup. That was his main push for the Ballon d'Or.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna have to be the same thing with De Bruyne because Man City's not gonna be enough.
Yeah, I think the best year for him to do it would be this year, because if City go far for the Champions League and Belgium win the Euros or something like that, he could push himself into a situation where people are looking at him. But like I said, like Messi, Ronaldo,
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Be looking at Van Dijk. Sadio Mane is getting on the scene for Ballon d'Ors. Like,
I would be surprised to see Van Dijk
back in that. Well,
no, I'd still win it. I would be surprised.
I mean,
to
but
see...
these are the kind of guys who get nominated ahead of De Bruyne, and like, Man City aren't going to win the league.
No, they're
Champions
not.
League. Is that defense really good enough to win a Champions League? I'm not sure.
I'm not sold on it.
Maybe when Laporte is back, potentially.
When he's back, let's see if he comes back like too.
Unfortunately for De Bruyne, I don't really see. A lot of things would have to fall into place for Kevin De Bruyne to win a Ballon d'Or. I don't think it would end up being his doing. A lot of things would have to happen to get him in that position. It's like the Raptors winning a championship. A lot of things had to happen for the Raptors to win a championship. There were a lot of extra variables aside from just the team performing.
For De Bruyne to win, I would say they would have to win the Prem, first off. They would have to make it to at least the semifinals of the Champions League and the semifinals of the Euro.
Final.
Yeah, if not final.
But, I mean,
it's a lot of things that need to happen.
Without Belgium, I don't think people are going to be voting for him ahead of Mbappe. As much as I think he's better than Mbappe, like, if it's not Messi or Ronaldo right now, Van Dijk, Mbappe, or Mane probably are more popular. It's about the popularity in this, and
That's why I think Mbappe
I don't think De Bruyne is so low key of a guy. He just focuses on his craft, about his game, that he's not pushed himself into the limelight to get that sort of popularity vote that the Ballon d'Or is. It's a popularity competition.
Oh, I know
this.
Yeah,
so
French.
Just off that, like, look, Wesley Sneijder won the treble with Inter and got to the final of the World Cup, where he was tremendous for Inter and for Netherlands. And Wesley Sneijder did not win the Ballon d'Or that year. He got absolutely robbed.
Yeah, I remember. Do you know who won it that year? Was it Ronaldo?
Either Messi or Ronaldo.
I think it was Ronaldo.
One or the other.
Yeah,
I believe it was Messi.
Sure.
I believe it was Messi.
Sure.
But regardless, Wesley Sneijder is probably, Kevin De Bruyne's the current day Wesley Sneijder. They're very similar players.
Yeah.
They score goals. They're both ambidextrous. Can pick a pass. Can play as the 8. Can play as a 10.
Can defend as well.
Mourinho calls it the 8.5, or the.
I like that.
The 8.5 position. They can play, or is it the 10? I don't know. It's something like that. They can play as the 8, but then they can also move forward and play as a 10 at the same time. They can be your 10, but then they're also playing as your 8. I think that's the word that he used to describe it. But that's that sort of role that Wesley Sneijder had, and look, Wesley Sneijder got robbed, and I don't think De Bruyne is going to produce team by team awards. I don't think De Bruyne is going to produce a treble plus an international competition final. It's going to be tough. Is De Bruyne ever going to be the most talented player in the world over a year? I could see it in the next couple of years, but is he going to win a Ballon d'Or? I would wager he doesn't.
Yeah, as would I. Now that I think of it, I just think too many things need to fall into place for him to win it, and the odds are heavily stacked against
they
him.
are. The odds are stacked against him because of the nature of the award, and I think that's all there is to it for this episode. But we'll end it there. If you want to have your say, you can let us know on Twitter or Instagram at AmateurPDC. Just let us know if you think De Bruyne will be a Ballon d'Or winner at some point in his career. You can explain why in the comments. You can comment on the YouTube video, Amateur Sports on YouTube. In the meantime, follow us on Spotify. You can shop the merch. Link is in the description. And as always, we post every single day. So keep coming back for that daily content. We will see you tomorrow.